We are surrounded on all sides, above and below, within and without, by love, protection, divinity, and magic. The circle is cast, and so it is.
Hello. My name is Cheld. My pronouns are they, them. And this is Phasecraft Collective, your weekly check-in with the cards to get the vibe. See what's possible. See what the energy has in store for us for the week to come. And what a week it is, which I feel like I say every week. Mercury stations retrograde later this evening. As we can tell, I'm already suffering the effects because I cannot talk. Wow, Mercury stationing direct in Sagittarius, the week of a major holiday when many of us are going to be confronting family members that may or may not have very different outlooks and views than us, is truly something else. We also have a new moon in Sagittarius this weekend. I believe it, depending on where you are, it hits on Saturday or Sunday. It's one of those like late night, early morning moons, which just offers a lot of opportunity to explore what shifts need to happen in order to help you feel more free, more creative, more alive. Yeah? With Sagittarius, we're talking about, free-spiritedness is huge with Sagittarius. Sagittarius is also ruled by Jupiter. I believe Jupiter is in retrograde too. So it's Sagittarius's usual, like, forward-moving, like, quick thinking, really abundant mindset is a little stunted at the moment. Again, retrogrades do not necessarily have to be bad things. They do often cause us to slow down, to evaluate, to really take stock of the areas of our lives that the planet in question rules. So, with all that being said, there is still a lot of possibility. Anytime we deal with a Mercury retrograde, you get like the normal, pop culture, mainstream fear mongering and warnings and don't do this and don't do this and don't practice magic and don't manifest and, don't buy anything, which is like, it's Black Friday, which, I mean, don't buy anything if you don't have to. There are a couple of larger purchases I personally need to make that I will be making this weekend, but they will be very intentionally made, and they are not in any way going to be impulsive. They are purchases I have planned out for a long time. But, as always, expect delays. Expect things to take longer than you thought. Expect things to take longer to get to you and leave from you. Expect your words not to land perfectly every time you say something. And do your best to just stay grounded. Grounding practices, protection practices are important all the time, but I think they're particularly important during a Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde. That's what I keep trying to say. So, that's a lot. That's a lot of energy taking up the skies this week. So let's go ahead and see what the tarot has to say about that, shall we? If this is your first time here with me, first of all, welcome. Second of all, we always begin by taking a few minutes to breathe and ground and center and cast our circle. Speaking of grounding, this is something you can do. This like circle casting that I do, you could do it all without saying, the circle is cast at the end. If you need to escape to a bathroom and take a few breaths and call the elements to you to help support and protect you as you deal with people, family, ideas. That is a perfectly good way to keep your head and keep yourself solid and stable as you move into a big weekend for a lot of us. So let's do it. I'm going to close my eyes, and I invite you to join me in doing so. If it feels safe and good to do so, you can always just let your gaze settle down at your cheeks or land somewhere else out in space if that feels better than closing off your field of vision. And just take a couple of breaths, coming into your body, coming into this moment. Feel your shoulders rising and falling, your ribcage expanding and softening. And become aware of wherever your body is making contact with what's beneath it. Whatever is anchoring you to the earth. Whether it be your feet on the floor, your seat in a chair, your back on your bed. Feel the weight of your body settling into that point. Feel gravity holding you. Feel the earth supporting you. Feel yourself taking up space and know that it is your right to do so. As I call to the elements here, I invite you to imagine their essence, their force, creating a barrier of protection, a circle of protection around you. You might see a circle of salt, maybe a ring of mushrooms or stones or flowers, a ring of fire. You might see the earth opening up in a circle and filling with the water from below its surface. You might see a dome of air, something altogether different, a combination of these things. Whatever comes to mind as I move through the elements and their forces. Allow it to come to you, allow it to protect you, and allow it to hold you. I call to the spirits and guardians of the north, of earth, the deepest roots and the tallest trees, the stardust that gave shape to this planet into our bones, hail and welcome. I call to the spirits and guardians of the east, of air, of wind and breath, of thought and change, of intuition, of communication, hail and welcome. I call to the spirits and guardians of the south, of fire, of the life-giving sun, and the powers of creation and destruction, cleansing and renewal, creativity and passion, hail and welcome. And I call to the spirits and guardians of the west, of water, of the oceans and our blood, the rivers and our sweat, the rain and our tears, hail and welcome. We are surrounded on all sides, above and below, within and without, by love, protection, divinity, and magic. The circle is cast, and so it is. You can take a couple more breaths here. Whenever you are ready, you can open your eyes. Wonderful. All right. Let's see what's up. I woke up to some very Mercury retrograde stuff this morning myself. But I have also had a couple really good things happen so far today. So hopefully that energy can carry over to this collective space. If you just heard some like random bells dinging in the background, that was my partner's alarm clock. So background noise might be happening. I'm using the Pagan Otherworlds tarot from Uusi Design Studios, which is one of my favorites. This is like an older deck that people really love. I just lost it. Okay. I did like the vast majority of my very first ever client readings with this deck. So it's a pretty special one. And we have the Hermit. I believe Saturn is making some trines at the moment, or Kazimis or connections. Again, like, I know just enough about astrology. I don't know everything. And I get my aspects mixed up a lot of times. There's a lot of big energy. There's a lot of big energy coming up. We had the Hierophant jump out just now, and in a week when a lot of us are going to be dealing with family and tradition, wow, that is the Hierophant all over. 9 and 10 of Cups. We've got the Knight of Wands, which feels very Sagittarian. We've got the Star, so there's hope here. And the 5 of Cups. That can't possibly be it. I mean, oh. It's just like, fine, here's 5 more cards. All right, let's see what we've got. Okay. Anything else? Anything else I say, and oh, that's a beautiful note to kind of end on. Okay. So as I mentioned here, the Knight of Wands, as I said, like, to me, this reads very Sagittarian energy. I mean, it's fire. The wands are fire. They are passion. They are creativity. I like this Knight of Wands with the 9 of Cups, the 10 of Cups, and the Hierophant as this reminder that, again, with this week, a lot of the energy of this week as a collective, and like in what we will be going through in our personal lives, energy, passion, communication, outward expression is going to be running very, very, very high. And remembering the Knight of Swords too as like, communication, speaking up, speaking out, speaking your truth, this energy of like letting every thought that comes through your head come out is like very much Knight of Swords and Knight of Wands like in it together. Be careful though, right? Don't let the excitement, and remember, excitement isn't always like a good thing. Sometimes excitement comes out when we are irritated or angry. We're like getting excited. Our, blood is pumping. Remember, in the moments when things get a little intense, that you can slow down and think. I'm coming back to you, the Hierophant. Think about what is uniting rather than dividing. Think about the good. Focus on the things that you can be grateful for. LOL. Given Thursday in this country of the United States of America. Focus on how your communication and your interactions can be intentional to build a brighter future, to create more unity and happiness and abundance and emotional fulfillment and joy, rather than divide. Using your voice, using your passion, not to antagonize, but to elevate, to lift, to show what is possible. Or, if it's safer for you not to engage in conversations, leaning into the celebratory aspect of things, leaning into the comfort of it, leaning into the joy, the pleasure, the, I idea of, again, abundance. But yeah, I mean, the overall thing with these 4 cards, the 2 knights and the 9 and 10 of cups, is let your passion, let your communication, let your ideas come forward and come out of you, again, in a way that inspires and motivates for everyone that you talk to want to create this space, create this better world, create a more loving and expansive world for us all to be in, right? And then again, the Hierophant with all of this, the idea of, again, tradition and institution. And there's this mystical aspect to the Hierophant too, of dealing with ancestral, whether it be curses, ancestral habits, ancestral karma, in these times when we're around a lot of the people that came before us, when we're around our families and reminded of where we come from. We can see patterns and we can see influences a lot more clearly. Influences into ourselves and how we operate, influences on how maybe the people that we have a lot of trouble with in our lives operate. So start looking for that. Start to try to build, again, understanding of why people are the way that they are. Because a lot of the tension, a lot of the not detachment, but like dissonance between us as people comes not from individual people being truly good or truly bad. It comes from the way that institutions shape our lives, the way that tradition shapes our lives, the stories that have been told to us about both, right? For example, like people thinking about the good old days being like the 50s, right? Our society, our media, our government has convinced a lot of people that the reason the 50s were the good old days was because of, cis heteronormative single family homes, white picket fences, traditional values of gender roles. When in reality, that was like the last time that we really had, we just come out of like a war and a depression, and people had, stability in their lives for the first time in years. People were getting paid enough to live and grow and expand. So, yeah, and there's a lot more. I don't want to get into that all right now because obviously there's like a lot about the 50s that were really bad. But like there's that like dissonance, right? It's not that like women were staying home and having babies that made that time period good. It was the way that the government was operating and actually taking care of its people. It's the way that people had enough money to live and to thrive that made that time so good. But that narrative has shifted in order to divide us, to keep us separate, to keep us from realizing that there was a lot of things with like unions and like workers' rights that were coming about during that time too. But we can't focus on that. We have to focus on the ways that those that are other, those that are marginalized, are ruining everyone else's lives right now. I don't think that. That's the story, right? Coming from the institution. But the more we can shift, again, our communication, our passion, our inspiration on others into what unites us, into what is possible, the more we can work to dismantle and shift and change the institutional belief and work together. Now, there's still some like tension here, right? We have the 5 of Cups and we have the 6 of Swords, but we also have the Star, we have the Ace of Swords. As I mentioned, we have the Hermit. I want you to recognize the times when the conversation is leading to a place of irreparable harm or overwhelm. The Nine of Swords is also here too. Remember that there is no shame in disengaging when you are actually experiencing harm, right? There's no shame in disengaging when there's not anything left to be said or it's not going anywhere. And remembering that shifting away or leaving doesn't have to be done in a way that is completely shutting things down. It can be moving and shifting in a way that allows you to see a situation from a distance. It is moving in a way that allows you to find a peaceful, more stable ground from which to observe and from which to plan and maybe come back to it or maybe stay away from it. The Five of Cups with like grief and loss. Remembering that through all difficulty, there is always something left to be reconciled, something left to be worked with, to be elevated. And it is how we move through these moments of difficulty and challenge that show us, where is it? The clear way forward. The Ace of Swords. So even as you are going through potentially difficult conversations, experiences, thoughts over the coming 7 days, finding within those moments of difficulty the inspiration, the new ideas, the possibility of what can be changed and what can be shifted, right? Because the Star, there is hope yet. And we all have unique abilities and skills that we can bring for ourselves, for our communities, to help bring and shape these ideas in reality. There is this constant encouragement recently, in the past couple of weeks, with all the readings that I've done, that hope is always available if we keep our eyes on it. So even as news, as, again, conversations, as things are happening around you that try to take away that hope, it is our job, it is our responsibility, it is in our power to keep it alive and to, again, think of ways that we are going to bring it forward and fight to keep it and fight to create and fight to be and express ourselves fully and completely, because that is our right as human beings, right? So the Hermit and the Nine of Swords, I'm going to talk about together. All nines are connected to the Hermit. And I want to, as I mentioned, like walking away, like taking time and space away when you need it is important. And be careful not to give yourself too much time in your head. Be careful not to give yourself too much time to overthink and overprocess anything that happens over this week. turn to this idea of inner knowing, of intuition, of peace that really comes with the hermit, of authenticity, to help ground you and ground your thoughts. And knowing that moments of anxiety, again, often show us deeper parts of ourselves that need our address, need our focus, need our attention. Again, the hermit, we're also talking about Saturn. So we're also talking about discipline and structure. And especially within Mercury retrograde, how we can return to the structures of our lives and look at them and spend time evaluating and seeing what no longer is working, or what maybe never did work, but that we've been trying to force ourselves into. And thinking of ways that we can shift it so that it's no longer causing us anxiety and panic, right? What can you shift? What can you change to make your life easier to live while still maintaining the structures and boundaries that you need to, exist in a capitalist society for however much longer we have it? And then at the end here, we have the sun. So again, through all of this, keeping together your hope, your sense of self, holding on to the knowledge that your presence is needed. You are valuable. You deserve happiness. You deserve joy. And in a lot of upcoming instances, it is going to be up to you to find it and to hold on to it. Let's look at the bottom of the deck here. Page of Cups. Keeping your dream alive, keeping your hope alive, leaning into connection, leaning into love as much as you can. Yeah, cool. That's the reading. What a good one. That felt really, really lovely. I'm feeling hopeful. I'm feeling good. And hopefully you are too. Okay, let's go ahead and close. Whoa, just made everything shift. Let's go ahead and close our circle here. So I'm going to close my eyes, and I once again invite you to do the same if it feels safe and good to do so. Take a couple of breaths, letting everything land and settle. Reimagine that elemental circle of protection around you. Take a big deep breath in, and as you exhale, release that circle, scattering salt, extinguishing fire, dispersing air, watching water sink back into the earth, watching mushrooms, plants, stones also return to below the surface, opening the circle and releasing the energy. I release the spirits and guardians of the west, the south, the east, and the north, sending you back to your place in the natural order with praise and with gratitude. I send the energy of all those watching and listening back to them whole, complete, and intact. I take my energy back to myself whole, complete, and intact. May we remain friends, though our energies are no longer crossed, corded, or tangled at all, starting now. Take a breath, feel your energy settle into you, all yours. The circle is open, and so it is. All right. That is the end, y'all. Just a few notes. Don't forget to get your head readings booked for 2025. It's December this weekend. So I have my 3 different options for your head readings. You can get a written one emailed to you for $77. You can get a 30-minute virtual one-on-one reading for $99. And you can get an hour-long one. That's the most in-depth option for $177. We also have the final round of Tarotcraft for 2024 coming up, starting December 7th. So we're just under 2 weeks away from that. There's still plenty of spots left for all 3 tiers, so check it out. Just a teaser, I very well may be offering a flash sale on Saturday. And when I say flash, I mean flash. Like, code goes up in the stories for, I don't know, a couple hours and comes right back down. So keep your eyes open for that. And yeah, that's what I've got going on. If you have any questions at all, drop them in the comments. Shoot me a DM. Shoot me an email. Let's get you set up. Let's get you on a payment plan for Tarotcraft. Let's figure it out. Let's see how you can start to explore your internal worlds and offer that insight to the rest of the world through the tarot in the year to come, if you want to. But all right, my friends, that is all. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next week.